Joe Craig, and we want to tell you a bit about a book called Wasted by Nicola Morgan.
There are two characters, Jess and Jack, I should say, and there's a sort of a romance going on between them, but there are lots of issues and threats to that going on at the same time.
And the book is full of, well, it's not full of, there's 2 or 3 key moments where the story potentially splits and you're asked, well, either this could happen or that could happen, and sometimes they're very little things just to do with chance, aren't they?
And we're asked to toss a proverbial coin and see whether it falls on heads or tails, and then the story splits into 2 possibilities as to which one will be followed.
Yes.
And so it took me back a bit to the days of the choose your own adventure story when we were kids, but in a very, very different sort of genre.
Yeah.
And that was so original, doing that in this genre.
I like that. I think it did it very well. And it's a risk to do that. I felt that this central romance between Jess and Jack was strong enough and interesting enough for me to want to know how it was going to fall out, whatever the fates chose.
Yeah, I agree. The character of Jack, he lost his mum when he was very young, and then his father got remarried, and his second mother also died in a fluke accident. So Jack is obsessed with the notion of chance. He's obsessed with a certain coin, and he makes life decisions based on what the coin decides. Henry's on a purring frenzy and therefore slightly distracting, but I'm going to try and not get distracted. It's a very interesting book. It's a very original book, I think, and it tries to tackle themes that you don't normally see coming up in...
Big ideas.
It's very much hitting the big ideas. Schrodinger's cat, you studied philosophy, over to you for an explanation.
Well, the book focuses on chance and fate and fortune. Schrodinger's cat is referenced in the book, and it's... I'll try and put this as succinctly and simply as I possibly can. If you have a quantum particle... chain reaction...
And here's the crazy bit. It's crazy. There's actually quite a poignant moment in the story, I think, which sums up kind of the whole book quite well. So
read to me.
If I may.
Read to me.
If I may. Jack is considering about what he may have lost when his mother's died. What he has lost is everything that hasn't happened to him, everything that he is not, but might have been. So it's not so much that he lost his mother's, but he lost the possibility of futures that haven't come to pass. And I think that's very, very thought-provoking. I think the whole book is.
Yeah, that's great. A couple of little things we should mention.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel a bit about this. I have to say it because I feel like it's totally not the author's fault or anything to do with the author really, but I didn't like the cover. And I don't feel like the cover does the book justice. And the cover makes it look like it's a completely different genre. It looks more like a horror cover to me. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, it does. It seems quite... it's a very high impact cover, but I agree that I don't think that readers would know what it was about from the outside.
The other thing we should talk about is that it's written in the present tense. How do you feel about that?
I am totally comfortable with the present tense. I've been arguing with loads of people about present tense recently. I don't have anything against it. My default would always be writing the past tense. In the Tiger and Cat books, I write in the present tense for the prologue and the epilogue, so I bring in kind of an immediacy, the idea is.
And that works very well in the Tiger and Cat books.
Flash of action.
Yeah.
I think it wouldn't have worked in the past tense because you're being addressed now, everything is happening now, the future hasn't happened yet, the past, it's not something that's kind of looked back on in the past, and therefore the past tense doesn't work for this very particular story, so I buy it here.
Well, I can totally see why the author Nicola Morgan did it for this book.
I think Henry agrees with me.
Yeah, Henry agrees clearly. I can see very strong argument for doing that. Of all the books in the present tense that I've read, there are only 1 or 2 where I really think it works. This might be one of them.
It's certainly very much a conscious book. You read it very self-consciously. The narrator is self-conscious and talks about the characters in quite a conscious way, like this person is not a very nice person, by the way, or things like that we don't generally do as writers.
Yeah.
But Nicola Morgan she's in many ways breaking a lot of the rules, but I think breaking them quite effectively.
Yeah, she knows what she's doing, so
she
I felt quite comfortable
in
her hands as a storyteller.
Yeah. This book is up for quite a few awards, and I really hope it wins some. It really deserves it. Very original.
Have fun reading Wasted by Nicola Morgan.
Thanks.
Bye bye.